You know that moment you say something a little too sharp and instantly think, that wasn't me? Or you freeze in a confrontation, then later craft the perfect response you never said. We all have this other version of ourselves that only shows up under pressure. Most of us think it's a flaw, but it's not. It's a real psychological system, the shadow built by social rules and our own survival instincts. Let's get the map straight. Think of your personality like a company. The self is the whole organization. The ego is the narrator, the PR lead, keeping your story straight so you feel like the same person day to day. And the persona? That's the outward mask, the customer-facing brand you show at work and with friends. So what's the shadow? It's the storage room. It's where your persona hides every trait, urge, and even talent that didn't seem safe or acceptable. It's not evil, just exiled. Maybe you learned early on that taking up space gets you labeled arrogant, so assertiveness goes into the storage room. Maybe being playful got you scolded, so spontaneity goes in too. But the contents don't disappear. They influence you from the dark. And they leak out. Sarcasm instead of a clear ask for help. Mindless scrolling instead of the rest you actually need. That spike of jealousy when a colleague gets the praise you wanted. That moral overreaction to someone else's behavior that mirrors a rule you secretly want to bend. These are all forms of emotional camouflage. The need underneath is honest. Respect me, notice me, back off. But the costume is messy. The classic move is projection. That specific trait you can't stand in other people is often a disowned trait in yourself. Your brain is just trying to keep you safe in the tribe, so it overlearns what's acceptable and shadows the rest. The good news is, once you can name the storage room, you can negotiate with it. So here's the detective work. Start with this principle. Notice intensity more than context. When your reaction is way bigger than the moment, that disproportion is your shadow flaring. The emotion is the message, not the words. Here's your first tool, the 3x3 trigger map. Pick 3 situations from the last week that made you spike. For each one, list 3 body sensations and 3 thoughts. For example, a coworker takes credit for your idea in a meeting. The sensations might be a tight jaw, heat in your chest, shallow breath. The thoughts, I'm invisible, why do I even bother? Say something now. Do this for all 3 situations, then look for the pattern. If tight jaw and I'm invisible show up again and again, the pattern is pointing to an unmet value, recognition. This isn't a moral judgment, it's a heat map. Next, try a reaction replay. After a flare-up, write the scene in the third person, like a quick sports recap. They heard the comment, their shoulders rose, they cut the call short. Then ask one question. What did this protect? Not why did I do that, which just invites a long story. What did this protect gets to the function. Maybe it protected your status, your safety, your autonomy. Suddenly, the reaction isn't a villain, it's a guard dog. And in the moment, you can use a body-first check. Just name 3 data points: location, verb, message. Gut, twisting, back off. Throat, tightening, say it clean. Your body flags the value before your thoughts can even catch up. Once you can read its language, you can choose the clean action. The point of all this is simple. Don't moralize your reaction. Translate it. A sting from work feedback isn't about the specific words. It's about the hidden need to be seen. A tight chest from a partner's late text isn't about their schedule. It's a ping for reliable signals of safety. Once you see the patterns, you can make a contract between your public persona and your hidden shadow. And that's where the friction stops being noise and starts becoming your sharpest boundaries and your deepest focus. You know that feeling when plans shift and your jaw locks tight? When you feel invisible in a meeting and a hot flash of frustration hits you? That reaction isn't a flaw. It's a signal from what we call your shadow, the part of you that stores valuable needs but gives them terrible public relations. The key isn't to silence it, it's to give that value a better channel. Integration is just permission with limits. Here's how you do it. First, an audit. Step 1, name the disowned value under the trigger. Look at your patterns and find the one word beneath the heat: power, attention, control, autonomy, play, rest. If you constantly feel invisible, the value is attention. If your jaw locks when plans shift, the value is control. Just one word. Clarity reduces shame. Step 2, write the clean version. Give that value a PR makeover. Power becomes clear leadership. Attention becomes being seen for the work, not the noise. Control becomes reliable systems. Autonomy is choice in key moments. This clean version is how your conscious self, your persona, can accept the shadow's request without feeling like it's breaking the rules. Step 3, set 2 rules. Where is this value allowed and where is it not? Be direct. Recognition is allowed in weekly stand-ups. I'll name my contribution once. It's not allowed as sarcasm in DMs. This creates a lane where the value can be expressed and a guardrail where it can't. You're building a system for yourself. Step 4 is a parts dialogue. Make 2 columns, persona's concern versus the shadow's need. Persona says, if we ask for credit, we'll look needy. The shadow replies, if we keep quiet, we'll burn out. The goal is to negotiate a small contract with yourself. What's the minimum clean ask? Maybe it's just 1 sentence in the next stand-up. You're treating 2 parts of yourself like 2 departments that both matter. Once you've done 1 audit, everything changes because your frictions become design choices, and you can apply this immediately to improve your focus. Before starting deep work, pre-brief your shadow. Say, we're going heads down for 90 minutes. After that, there's a recognition window. I'll post a progress note when we're done. Your brain is wired for simulation. When it knows a window is scheduled, the guard dog rests. Put a literal timer on it so you trust the promise. It works for relationships too. State the value, state the ask, state the boundary. Use a clean, neutral tone. For example, value, reliability helps me feel close. Ask, can you text if you'll be late? Boundary, if I don't hear from you by 9, I'll start without you. You're not moralizing, you're translating emotion into structure. To make this sustainable, use tiny loops, a daily 60-second check-in. What flared up? What's the value? What's the smallest clean action? Heat when interrupted. Value, autonomy. Action, block 11:12 as no interrupt time. 1 minute, no stories, only decisions. Then do a weekly calibration. Review your triggers. Tighten 1 boundary or refine 1 script. Treat it like a product update for your own behavior. Here's the takeaway. Your shadow isn't a monster. It's a storage room of useful traits wrapped in emotional camouflage. Once you translate them, you get cleaner boundaries and steadier focus. If this helped you read your reactions and turn them into simple rules, subscribe and watch the next video where we map projection traps inside everyday arguments step by step. If you want more practical psychology like this, stick around and stay curious.
Okay, if you're walking away from this thinking, wow, that explains a lot, good. That wasn't an attack, it was a user manual update, that sharp comment, that awkward silence, that late night perfect comeback, not sabotage, just a part of you waving a tiny flag saying, hey, there's a value in here, please handle with care. You don't need to erase that part of you, you just need to give it a better job description, translate the reaction, set the boundary, keep the focus. And remember, self-awareness isn't about being softer or harsher, it's about being cleaner. You've got this. Thanks for watching.